Nilo will give a talk about BEVAR and what is the main core difference between BEVAR and EVAR or FEVAR. Is it superior or not?
Hi.
Nilo,
Hello.
how are you?
Me? Yes. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Great. I was attending to the session online.
Yes,
Okay.
we. Okay, the floor is yours,
Now,
Neil.
if you can hear me, first of all, I would like to apologize because I had a last-minute issue that I was not able to fly to be with you, and unfortunately. And I'm going to try to make an overview, a short presentation around the difference between the EVAR and FEVAR and BEVAR, and which is the way to go if BEVAR is superior to FEVAR. So these are my disclosures. The first thing I would like to discuss is what about open repair? Because we have now new guidelines and the level of evidence changed a little bit, but it's probably still an option to go endovascular for this kind of procedures, but we need to consider in a difficult endovascular procedure right now, we probably need to consider a little bit more the open repair. But again, it's an individualized medicine criteria that is a lot around the patient preference and it's a lot around the treatment each single patient. But if it comes to the complex endovascular, for sure, fenestrated or branch graft are the preferred treatment. This is coming from the guidelines. And what about thoracoabdominal indication? This is not so clear. Somehow endovascular and open are balanced, but if we go for the endovascular approach, again, fenestrated stent seems to be better. This is probably, when you check new guidelines around this field, you will find there is no really hard evidence from the guidelines, perhaps because the particular scenario of thoracoabdominal and thoracic, descending thoracic diseases, the guidelines need an update, as these guidelines were the one that was built by Professor Reambao in 2017. So if we come to the experience in the publications, we can find that branches are a good option, even in urgent cases. This is a paper, recent meta-analysis, coming from the group of Munich, that's saying that it's feasible and safe even in urgent cases, the treatment with branches. And if we have the option B, we think also in urgencies, probably if we analyze the physician-modified endografts, we will find the same group, not very good outcomes if we go for urgent cases. And if we go for this kind of physician-modified, we will find that fenestration are associated with worse outcome than branches. So in the end, these kind of techniques still are very, very immature and should be reserved for those cases that are not suitable for alternative endovascular repair. And after all these guidelines and presentations and papers, probably we have somehow a chaos walking. But in the end, what we know is if the graft and the repair is juxtarenal, fenestrated, probably still the first option. FEVAR or BEVAR are indicated if the choice is in the vascular repair. And we have basically a better outcome for branches in urgent cases, but not very clear about physician-modified endografts. And from our experience, we know that most of the complications that came with the complex world are related to renals. These complications are reduced by more stable procedures. So we are doing more and more very complex treatment, including 3 and 4 vessel preservation. And the story behind the grafts have changed a lot. But again, what we know is these bridge stents we are using are affecting the results and are affecting the anatomy. So we have some concerns about durability in this complex world. And then right now, 2024, are more related to the bridge stent than the proper graft itself. So this kind of complications, disconnections, complications, fractures, ruptures, etc., are analyzed and then again are more important for renals than the visceral vessels and somehow not very clear if self-expandable or balloon expandable stents. So for the bridge stent choice, probably we have too many choices today and no dedicated stents so far. We have something from the BEVAR world, from the branches with the next generation BGRAPH and GORE BBX, and there are some other graphs, stent graphs coming to the market that can produce new results in the future. But with these two graphs, BBX and also with the BGRAPH Plus, we have right now quite a decent long or mid-time experience. This was our first case 5 years ago, and we have 5 years follow-up with good durability. So we have same conclusions after all this time when you analyze the bridging stents and when you analyze the performance of the graphs. And if we move to the bridge stent technology itself, you will see, like in this case, we are doing with bridging stents, balloon expandable bridging stents, two key points. First, keep your stent as short as possible. And second, use a balloon expandable stent to conform the target vessel and also to the branch itself. This way, we are increasing more and more the number of cases we're doing with branches. But don't forget about the self-expandable in branches because they are also useful. And we have some 7.5 low-profile diaphragm, which is very good when you are doing an off-the-shelf T-branch, like in this particular case I am showing you. Even more, mix and match. You can have the best from all the worlds, the best from the branch world and fenestration world, which is this platform I am showing you, the inner branch platform, and the best from the balloon expandable and self-expandable world when you combine different technologies to treat the patient. So there are some concepts when we need to choose between fence and branches. In terms of indication, a fenestration does not seal really, so you need some healthy neck. This is basically indicated for short neck, the branch seal, but then you need a lot of coverage above the target vessels. That means you need to seal a lot in the aorta. And any kind of treatment you are choosing, do not cheat on sealing, because if you go for the complex, you need to have durability. So three key points when we need to analyze fenestration on branches. Branches require bigger diameters, biggest IBD, and the vessel direction is very important. Downwards is good for branches, horizontal or upwards better for fenestrations, and the vessel features also very important. The branch require better target vessels than the fenestration in general. So this is the picture showing that you need room for the branches if you use branches, and the fenestration required wall apposition. Direction downwards is good for branches, horizontal, good for fenestration, as you can see in these clinical cases. Another issue is that when you go for fenestration, you need to be precise on your deployment and orientation. In this kind of cases that are tortuous, angulated, somehow difficult to control your graft, it's better going for a branch approach. And if you can go with something in the middle between the branch and the fenestration, that is the inner branch, this is something better. Summarizing these advantages or disadvantages, fenestration, you can treat narrow aortas, the orientation of the vessel, less aortic coverage, you can cannulate from below, and right now you can do the same with branches with steerable sheets, and branches are more dedicated for larger aneurysms with proper sealing, more flexible and more forgiving when you're treating the complex anatomy. So as I said you before, probably the inner branch platform, that is something in the middle, can fill this gap. You have less aortic coverage, proper sealing, forgiveness and control, you are closer to the vessel, and almost 100% of these cases we can do with one single balloon expandable stent, which is good. And just to finish, I would like to show you this particular case. That is a case that has some mix of features. This is a parajuxtarenal aneurysm, 6 centimeters, with a narrow aorta, 23, 24 IBD. And in this kind of situation where we don't want to wait for a custom-made graft, we can use the sequential deployment for the T branch, that is open the graft, cannulate like this celiac trunk, then open the SMA, cannulate and implant the stent, then open both renals, cannulate one renal, cannulate the other renal, keeping the room enough for continue. And this is the follow-up for this particular patient after 2 months, showing one type B embolic, type 2, sorry, embolic, and the patency for all the vessels, even in those narrow scenario. So in the end, 3 conclusions. Right now, there is not enough evidence to support one complex repair over the other, really, and anatomy is the key. You need to tailor the procedure. New technologies such as inner branch graft and new techniques like the flexible shift or new breaching stents can make more efficient this repair. But remember, so far, there is no ideal dedicated stent. Could be in the next future, but right now there is no. And this is concretely the weakest point on the complex aortic endo repair today. So you need to tailor your planning and material to choose to fit better to the patient's anatomy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nilo. Probably you can discuss with a couple of questions or comments just now, because it is much more complex to contact again. So if there are any comments of questions from the floor? In the meantime, Nilo, totally agree about your presentation, but as you know, since many years, my concern is about durability, and seems to be that the new technologies still is a little bit far away from long durability procedure. That means that with adding branches and fenestrations, we are also adding more sources of endoleaks, because we are described the type 1, 2, and 3C endoleaks concerning branches and breech stents itself. So let me to emphasize, if you agree or not, about the follow-up of those patients. You perform a follow-up closely, closer than the EVAR, standard EVAR, or just the same kind of follow-up?
Yes, that's just a critical question, because for standard EVAR, we are now very, let's say, comfortable with not so close follow-up and reduce the CT scans. What we are doing is pay a lot of attention on the ultrasound, and paying a lot of attention on the something that is very old-fashioned, that is the plain X-ray, which gives you a very good evaluation of the metal structure of the breaching stents. And this is something that we do very closely. The CT scans, we try to reduce them, but we are doing a more close follow-up than for the regular infrarenal repair with regular EVAR in these cases. Yeah.
Any question or comment? And the final one could be about, you talk about the inner branches, could be some kind of improvement, but not all the patients or all the anatomy is fit for this kind of technology. Probably we still maintain some kind of concerns and problems related to the breech stents. How you can foresee in the future in this particular aspect? Inner branches could be the winner with a better breech stent, probably?
That's just one possibility. I think with a better breech stent, any platform will be better. What is important is that an important concept is about is not the same at all a fenestration or a branch. A fenestration has no seal, so you need to have some neck. That's very important. And because we were like pushing a little bit the envelope with some kind of cases of no neck, playing with fenestrations. And this is something that is important, because we knew that the results of branches in the narrow spaces and some anatomies were not good in terms of patency. So somehow we were pushing a little bit the envelope, going for fenestrations with not enough good aorta around the fenestration. This is the place where the inner branch will play a role, because when we have this kind of situation, it's much better for sure going for a branch. But if you have a short neck, that is the place for fenestration, fenestration is a I would say, demonstrated platform to treat these patients.
Okay, thank you. Probably we need to continue with the program or with the next.
Yes,
Okay.
we can. We can. Thank you very much, Nilo, for this very nice presentation. We wish that you will be with us physically, but unfortunately, hopefully next time you'll be together, inshallah.
Sure.
I am honored to introduce Professor Vincent Rimbau.